Hello there. So you might be wondering, what is HTTP? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's the foundation of the web. Whenever you try to visit a website, your browser makes an HTTP request to that site's web server asking for the web page. If the server has that page, it will send it back to your browser and your browser will show it to you. That's all well and good, but what actually happens when you enter a URL into your browser? Let's take a look. When you enter a URL into your browser, it first contacts the DNS server to get the IP address of that website. Once it has the IP address, it sends an HTTP request message to that server. The request message contains the details of the request, such as the path to the requested resource, any headers, and the HTTP method being used, such as GET or POST. The client then sends this message to the server. Once the server receives the request message, it will process it and then send a response message back to the client. The response message contains the status code of the response, such as 200 OK or 404 not found, as well as the response headers and the actual content being returned to the client. The client then receives the response message and parses it to determine the status code and the content type of the response. If the status code is 200 OK, then the content is what was requested. If not, then the client may need to take some other action, such as trying again or displaying an error message. The client then uses the content type to determine how to display the content. For example, if the content type is text HTML, then the client will render the HTML as a web page. If the content type is an image, then the image will be displayed. And if the content type is a video, then the video will be played. And that's basically how HTTP works. Of course, there are many more details and nuances to the protocol, but this should give you a basic understanding of how it works. Now you might have noticed that I keep saying HTTP and not HTTPS. That's because HTTPS is just HTTP over SSL or TLS. So everything I've just said also applies to HTTPS. The only real difference is that HTTPS encrypts the communication between the client and the server, which means that the data being sent and received is secure and can't be intercepted, or attackers can't inject malicious code into it. This is why it's important to use HTTPS on websites that handle sensitive information such as login credentials or credit card details. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please leave a like. If there's another technology or protocol you'd like me to explain slowly, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.